for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Funeral service for Essie Ann Wood of Westover will be today at noon from Arkwright Baptist Church in Harpersville, with burial in the Harpersville Cemetery. Visitation prior to the service today, 11 until noon. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing the service for Essie Ann Wood of Westover, Alabama. Walter Harold Nelson, age 95, of Birmingham, died February the 3rd. He was born in Talladega County, lived at Gants Quarry, Alabama, until his family bought a dairy farm in Stewartville in Coosa County. He graduated from Sylacauga High School, served in the Army, Air Force, and Air Force, and he trained as a mechanic. He served as a clerical aide to officers, mostly at Miami. He is a veteran of World War II and a member of the American Legion Post 43. After World War II, he returned to Stewartville and became a marble setter, and he passed away. Mr. Nelson did at the age of 95, February the 3rd. There will be a visitation on Thursday from 10 until 11 at Rideouts Trustfield Chapel. Service begins at 11 in the chapel with the Reverend Ed Sims and nephew Steve Nelson officiating. Burial in the Marble Valley Cemetery following a reception at the funeral home. In lieu of flowers, memorial contribution can be made to the Huffman United Methodist Church, 711 Gene Reed Road in Birmingham, 35235. Rideouts Trustfield Chapel, directing that service for Mr. Walter Harold Nelson, age 95. Rita Holt, age 60, died February the 4th in Titus, Alabama. Funeral arrangements to be announced by Community Funeral Home. Online condolences at communityfuneralhome.org. David Kilo, age 65, died February the 2nd in Birmingham. Community Funeral Home will announce the arrangements. Mary Sue McLean, age 89, died February 3rd at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Radley Smith Funeral Home will announce the arrangements. Mrs. Hilda Eileen Jackson Morrison, age 95, died at the Greenbrier at the Altamont in Birmingham on February 3rd. Funeral service for Mrs. Morrison will be today at Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel at 2 p.m. Burial in the Green Hill Cemetery. The Reverend Mike Kleckler will officiate the service. Visitation today prior to the service, 1 until 2 at Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel. Online condolences at curtisandSonFunerals.com. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. Graveside service for Francis Jenny Rich Ansley, age 81, of Childersburg, will be today at 1 o'clock from Pine Hill Memorial Park in Talladega. Randall Hamilton will officiate. Mrs. Ansley died Monday, February 5th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Visitation today, 11 a.m. until noon at the funeral home. Memorial message can be sent to the family at radleysmith.com. Radley Smith Funeral Home, directing. Richard Curry, age 78, died February the 5th. Funeral arrangements to be announced by Terry's Metropolitan Mortuary. Funeral service for Mr. Roger Dale Macon, age 72, of Alexander City, is today at 2:30 from the chapel of Radley Funeral Home. Reverend Wayne Cowhick officiating. Burial in the Hillview Memorial Park. The family will receive friends today, noon until 2 at the funeral home. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at radleyfuneralhome.com. Radley Funeral Home, directing. Funeral service for Sherwood Bug Heath, age 67, of Ashland, will be Wednesday at 11 a.m. from Benefield Funeral Home in Lineville, with the Reverend Lee Heath officiating. Burial in the Ashland City Cemetery. Mr. Heath died Sunday, February the 4th at Clay County Hospital. He was a member of the Clay Community Holiness Church. The family will receive friends this evening, 6 until 8 o'clock at the funeral home. Online condolences at BenefieldFuneralHome.com. Benefield Funeral Home in Ashland, directing. Funeral service for Mr. Robert L. Williams is today at 1 o'clock from Shiloh Baptist Church in Sylacauga, with Pastor Anthony Cook officiating. Interment in the Sylacauga City Cemetery. Zion Memorial Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Funeral service for Mr. Garrison A. Owens, age 53, is today at 11 a.m. from Mount Home Baptist Church, with Pastor Robert Duncan, the celebrant. Mr. Owens died Wednesday, January 31st at his residence, Sunset Memorial Chapel, Childersburg, directing. Funeral service for Mr. John Lawler, age 69, will also be today at 11 o'clock from Africa Baptist Church in Talladega with the Reverend Stanley Shannon, the celebrant. Mr. Lawler died Monday, January 29th in Austell, Georgia. Arrangements entrusted to Sunset Memorial Chapel in Childersburg. Online condolences at sunsetmc.com. This obituary report brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. 256-245-4361. For pre-need, burials, funerals, and cremations, it's Curtis & Son Funeral Home since 1975. A major remodeling of the funeral home going on in Sylacauga, and it will be almost unrecognizable when it's finished. It's really, really going to look good. And Curtis & Son Funeral Home going the extra mile to make sure that all of your funeral needs are met. And if you have not considered a pre-need plan for that loved one or for yourself, that will take a lot of pressure off of you or other family members at the time of death, talk with Doris Thrash today. Pre-need. That is pre-planning your funeral. And I know that may sound a little bit morbid, but ladies and gentlemen, it is the best thing to do. Curtis & Son Funeral Home. Talk with Doris Thrash in Sylacauga. You can call her today at 256-245-4361. She'll be happy to set up an appointment with you to talk about pre-planning that funeral from A to Z. And you'll be happy that you did, because if you understand about how bereavement works, when someone dies in the family, everything is so topsy-turvy. You're trying to grieve. You got to put the funeral plan together. But with a pre-need, it's already done. And you can grieve and you can honor that loved one without all the things that go along with it, because you've already got it done. And certainly, a pre-need for you is so very, very important. Take the load off your family. Don't allow them to suffer through your loss, and they're trying to find insurance policies. They're wondering where they're going to have the service and visitation, and who's going to preach the service, and that kind of thing. The pallbearers, you'll have it all done, and your family will appreciate that, because they want to honor your life, and you won't have to leave them in a lurch of having to put everything together at a time of need when their minds are already cluttered. Do your family a favor and talk with Doris Thrash about pre-need planning. Doris Thrash at Curtis & Son Funeral Home, 256-245-4361.